Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to Get Hit with the Truth. So today we are continuing the True Boxing Annual Top 10s as we are rolling with the 200-pound Cruiserweight Division, and we're going to look at the fighters that are on the bubble in the 200-pound Cruiserweight Division. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So fighters on the bubble, what does that mean? That is all the fighters that are, they either have a big name or they're ranked in the top 5 of the governing bodies, the 4 governing bodies. They're ranked in the top 5, but they did not make the top 10. So those are the fighters that we're going to look at that are right on the verge of making it to the top 10. So it's usually a good amount of fighters, that we discuss in one of these videos. So let's jump right in it. We're going to kick it off with former 2-time world title challenger Mikhail Cieslak. Cieslak really is highly rated in 3 of the governing bodies right now. He's a WBO number 1, the WBC number 3, and the IBF number 3. He's 35 years old right now, but is still a legitimate contender. In 2024, he went 2-0 with 2 knockouts, but didn't really burn the house down, beating anybody big. But he is, since his 2022 decision loss to Lawrence Okoli for the WBO title, he has won 6 straight fights and is threatening, to get back in the ring for a title shot, which right now, I think the WBO is going to end up ordering a title eliminator, a final eliminator before the end of the year. Cieslak and Callum Johnson are the top 2 highest ranked guys there. I can see that being something that Cieslak signs on for. Gilberto Ramirez just defeated Chris Bellin-Smith to unify the 2 belts. So he has a WBA mandatory due first, I think, against Junior Dorticos, and then he's probably going to be able to be allowed to do an optional defense first, and then would have to deal with his WBO obligation after that. Like I said, optional defense, I mean more unification with Jai Opetaia, but Cieslak fighting a guy like Callum Smith right now, or Callum Johnson, would be a good way to move himself in line. Also, being the IBF's number 3, he might be able to take on veteran Mateusz Masternak to punch, to become the mandatory challenger there. So it's going to be interesting to see where Cieslak goes, but I do see him getting into a final eliminator before the end of the year here in the Cruiserweight division. The next fighter that we are going to look at that is on the bubble, give me 1 second here. Okay, next up is Hussein Sin Cara, who is the IBF's number 1 ranked contender. He's 22-0, 18 knockouts, 39 years old. He actually had the fight locked up with Jai Opetaia that was supposed to happen this year, January 8th, but he had to pull out with an injury. He went 1-0 with a knockout, but he hasn't really defeated anybody big, but he's still considered to be, even with the IBF scrambling, he's still considered to be the number 1 ranked contender. Now, is Opetaia going to have to fight Sin Cara after, or is the IBF going to force Sin Cara to make fight in a final eliminator? I hope that's what they do, because Sin Cara hasn't really defeated anybody. So we got to wait and see what the IBF decides. But I really think Sin Cara should fight one of these guys that are ranked up there, like Cieslak or Masternak or this Ives Nagabu, to determine whether he really even deserves to be fighting for a world title. But we'll see how it shakes out after Opetaia and Nayika this year, or this week coming up for the title. Then you got Ives Nagabu. I hope that's the right way of saying his name. He's 23-2, 17 knockouts in his career. Ives is the IBF's number 5 contender, 36 years old. He only fought once and got a 6-round TKO against an undefeated guy named Kevin Martinez in June of 24. He's been in the ring with Lawrence Okoli back in 2019 and got stopped in that fight. He lost a split decision to Evgeny Tishenko. That was back in 2023. That was a 10-round split decision. Those are his 2 defeats, but he hasn't really defeated anybody with a name. So he's rated, though, in the IBF rankings, and you never know. We could see a guy like him getting an opportunity to compete in a final eliminator before the end of the year. So we'll see how his year shakes out for him. Okay, next up is former world champion Firat Arslan. This guy, 54 years old, and it's just amazing that he still gets ranked. I mean, he fought again. He took on some little known fighter, got a second round knockout victory. He must really pay the sanctioning fees to still be ranked because he's still the WBA's number 5 ranked contender right now. I think it's pretty ridiculous, but it is what it is. He's an old man. He probably should hang him up, but he's still banging around, so you can't knock him for not staying busy. But yeah, I don't know if I see Arslan getting a shot at a title. Gilberto Ramirez is a unified champ. I mean, maybe he can work himself into an eliminator, but that's about all I see Arslan doing in 2025, to be honest, especially at 54 years old. I don't think anybody's going to take him serious, but shit, you never know. Next up is Leonardo Mosquera, 16-0, 9 knockouts, only 30 years old, from France. This guy went 3-0 in the year, but capped it off with a 12-round split decision over Shavon Clark, which was a big win for him, and punched his ticket, to this position right now. He's the WBA's number 4 ranked contender. Not a big name, but you never know. He could probably work himself maybe into an eliminator, at some point and push forward. I don't see him getting a title shot this year, but he could possibly bust into a top 10 with another decent victory to declare himself, a legitimate contender and maybe a world title challenger by the end of the year. So we'll wait and see what happens with him. And then the next guy we're going to look at is former world title challenger Tabiso Mushunu, who is still banging around. He's the veteran, 36 years old, 23-7 with 13 knockouts. But remember, he's just been a much more competitive and better fighter. But he finally returned from an over 2-year layoff in 2024 and lost a narrow 10-round split decision to Yamil Peralta. His inactivity is why he wasn't in the top 10. But remember, the last time out in January of 22, he probably should have got the nod in his rematch with Ilunga Makabu, and he came up short. Prior to that, he had defeated Denis Lebedev in 2019. So, if he comes back and can stay busy, I can see Mushunu working his way back into a potential, title shot of some sorts. But he's gotta stay busy. That's the problem. I don't know if he's ranked. I think he's ranked in the WBC only right now. He's ranked low, way down at number 11, but I can see him, as I said, working his way back in. So we'll see. Next up is 20-2 Brandon Glanton that we're looking at. Brandon Glanton is currently the WBA's number 3 contender, and I think he's number 5 in the WBC, if I got that right. He's 32 years old, from the U.S. He's coming off of a year where he went 2-0, and one of those wins was a June 11th round knockout win over former world title challenger Alexei Igorgov. In 23, he lost. His 2 defeats have come by narrow margins. He lost to David Light in December of 22, who went on to fight for the world title. He lost a 10-round split decision to him, and then lost to unknown Saslan Asbarov by a 10-round majority decision. So, Glanton just trying to work his way back in. He's an American fighter. I can see him getting some opportunity. He's a powerful guy at 20-2. So hopefully we see him make some noise and potentially do some damage this year of 2025, and maybe he can bust in, to the rankings. Next up is David Nyika. David Nyika is 10-0 at 9 knockouts, and he has a major opportunity. Only 29 years old, so he's young for the cruiserweights, but he's getting a major opportunity against Jai Opetaia this Wednesday. He's a big guy. He wants to make an impression, and he can if he can put up a good fight against the reigning number 1 fighter at cruiserweight in most people's minds, and Jai Opetaia. So big opportunity for him. He's not rated too highly. He's getting this as an opportunity because Hussein Sin Cara had to pull out of the mandatory fight. He did have 2 wins, both by knockout in 2024, most notably against Tommy Karpensky, the veteran. But the other guy, Michael Seitz, that he fought, he was undefeated. So we'll see how he looks against the top guy at cruiserweight, and then we'll go from there. In terms of, what he's going to be doing moving forward and where he is rated in this division. Next up, we're looking at Callum Johnson, the top-rated contender, 23-1, 15 knockouts, 39 years old. The dude's been around for a while. His only loss came in 2018 to Arthur Beterbiev when he challenged Beterbiev for the IBF light heavyweight title. I think Johnson was the one that put Beterbiev down, but Beterbiev got up and knocked him out. He has won 6 straight since then, but a lot of inactivity. But he did fight 2 times against the same fighter in 2024, Viktor Sharvku, and got 2 points victories. That guy has his last that guy and his previous opponent all losing records, big losing records. So I'm not sure how serious he's taking it, but he's got a big ranking at number 2 in the WBO. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him get ordered to fight Mikhail Cieslak for the WBO's mandatory number 1 shot. But we'll see what goes down in 2024. But I'm really not. He's going to get an opportunity, and I guess that's all that matters for him. So we'll see what he does with that. Next up, we're going to look at undefeated contender Kevin Melhus, 13-0, 8 knockouts. This guy's from Norway. He's 35 years old. Hasn't really done much. He got 2 stoppage wins in 2024. He's the WBO's number 5 contender. Don't really know much about him. Hasn't really been in a ring with anybody big at all. So we'll see what he does in 2025 to potentially move up the ladder. And the last fighter we're going to look at for the fighters on the bubble is Tahir Karovich. 22-0, 14 knockouts, only 28 years old, so he's very young for this division. Hasn't really done much. He only fought 1 time in 24 against a fellow undefeated fighter and got a 10-round unanimous decision. He hasn't beaten anybody really significant at all. So we'll see where he gets ranked. He is a WBO's number 3 contender right now. So if somebody like Callum Johnson passed on a final eliminator with Miguel Cieslak, I could see him in that. He could definitely be competing in something major before the end of the year. So we'll see what goes down for him and what he does. I don't see him getting a title shot, but maybe he can knock on the door and try to bust his way into the top 10 before the end of the year. So that's it. That's what I got. Those are my fighters on the bubble for the 200-pound cruiserweight division. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.